coffee in your cup, and joy on the set, the Super Morning Show is always the best bet on Joy 99.7 FM.
Welcome back. It's the Super Morning Show. A conversation started. It just came out of nowhere, actually. We're talking about, Kojo, and then suddenly we were talking about this post by Everon Hughes that has generated so much reaction from parents across the country. This is a real problem. How early we are forced to wake our children up, how late we are forced to bring them home, and how it is affecting their well-being. That is the question we want to answer this morning. Dr. Peggy Asidu Ekremet is a psychiatrist. She's a specialist in child and adolescent mental health, and she joins us from the Accra Psychiatric Hospital. Dr. Asidu Ekremet, good morning to you.
Good morning to you, and good morning to all your listeners as well.
We're glad you can join us. I suppose the question is very simple. This new lifestyle of the cosmopolitan parent who is forced to wake up their children at ridiculous hours, come home late, put them to bed late, less sleep, and, a more strenuous day. What effect is that having on today's child?
Okay, thank you very much. So I must say that I was actually listening into the conversation on my way to work. And I actually had one of my children asleep in the back seat, and it got me thinking, because this, unfortunately, has become our lifestyle. The world has changed so much with a lot of traffic, especially in Accra, that we need to wake the children up early to be able to make it to school. And it is having a detrimental effect on our children. So we know that, children between 6 to 12 years are supposed to have maybe around 9 to 12 hours of sleep at night. But unfortunately, this is not happening because we get to the house late, and homework is another chore to deal with. So they are sleeping maybe around 8 or even 9. Sometimes children go to bed as late as 10 p.m. and have to wake up very early to be able to make it to school. And obviously, they won't be able to establish a proper sleep routine. And usually during sleep, that's a time where the brain is supposed to be resting. If you've learned anything the previous day, and sleep actually helps consolidate these memories and keep the intelligence sharp. So what we are doing to these children is that they are not having enough sleep. So they already wake up feeling tired. And sometimes they would say they don't want to go to school. And it's not because maybe they don't like school, but going through the day tired is another burden on the child. So let's say a child sleeps at 10 p.m., has to wake up at 4 a.m., is in school already. The child is already tired. So then they may have problems with paying attention in class. They may doze. Sometimes we have reports of people saying, this child sleeps a lot, is forgetful, is not able to do problem solving, etc. It's all because of sleep deprivation. And studies have shown that if you don't have enough sleep, some parts of the brain actually decrease in size. But I've already said that when we sleep, that's when the brain rejuvenates, etc., etc. So staying in the class tired, not paying attention, then they come home with another load of homework. Because this conversation about homework has also been going on around, even amongst myself, my colleagues, and all. So that the homework now becomes a chore for you, the parents, to do, because the child didn't pay attention in class, has probably forgotten what he or she was told. So it's like you are teaching the child anew when you are doing the homework. So it's like your own personal problem now. And for children who already have problems with maybe attention, maybe they have a condition such as attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, it may worsen their problem, or maybe they have another learning disorder. It makes it very difficult for them to recover quickly. And for some people, for some children who don't have epilepsy or seizure disorder, they may actually be getting more frequent seizures because they are not sleeping enough. And that is a stressor which can even trigger their seizures. And once a child keeps having a lot of seizures, it affects their cognition as well. We also realize that for some children who may not have any other condition, it may even facilitate other mental health conditions, such as anxiety about going to school, depression about not doing too well in school, etc. And we will also know that teachers themselves are parents. So teachers are waking up early. I dropped my daughter around 7:30 this morning, and her teachers were already in class. They are also parents. They also have to wake up their children early, and then they also come to work very tired. So it even makes teaching also another conversation that may be for another day. So the quality of the education even may be affected. And another thing that happens is that sometimes we see children eating in the car. So breakfast, which is supposed to be the first meal of the day, is even compromised. Sometimes we are all guilty. Instead of maybe making the proper breakfast, you may just decide that, oh, let me just fry the egg, or I'm tired to make lunch, let me order fast food. We're ordering fast food in an already fast-paced world. And all these can lead to children gaining a lot of weight. And childhood obesity is something that has become a problem, a public health problem actually now, because children's appetites have been changed. They're not eating well. They want to eat KFC. I'm not saying eating KFC once in a while is fine, but I mean, we let them eat anyhow. And once we are getting home late, we are teaching them how to eat late in the night. And nutrition is very important for a child's brain development. So if we're not getting it right, that's also another conversation for another day. So I think that the impact on us as parents and on the teachers, even for us parents, if you wake up late and you have to stay in traffic for a long time, once you get to work, you are tired yourself. And we only leave the weekend for us to interact with children. So we're not having a lot of interaction with the children. Children also need interaction to, develop cognitively, socially, and all. But these weekends are the times where we are going for weddings, we are going for funerals. Some parents are doing one papa to be able to balance the economy now. So this conversation, I think I'm glad we are having it, and I think it should push us all to rethink how early children are waking up and how the educational system itself is to be giving, tired children in school, bringing back a lot of homework, which is also, a burden on them.
Dr.
So I
Peg,
think in a nutshell,
yeah, you've certainly tied a bow on the whole situation perfectly. Dr. Peggy, let me ask you this. Look, and none of us can stand in judgment over parents. We are all doing this to one degree or the other. We are all guilty of this because we don't really have a choice. But this is what we are doing to our children. We are subjecting them to sleep deprivation, malnutrition, as you explained, and neglect because we're not able to spend the quality time that we're supposed to with our children. Doc, speaking by strict definition, does this not mean that parents are unintentionally subjecting their children to child abuse?
So, as I said, we are all guilty at times. But, if we are saying this is not deliberate, I must say, because as I said, it's like a result of the society we live in now. Child abuse is a deliberate act. So you are endangering the child, you are maltreating the child, either physically, sexually, psychologically. Well, maybe some aspect of neglect may constitute about to say blanketly that this is child abuse. I don't think it is. Because for me, I deliberately try to take time with the children. So for weeks now, no tablet, nothing, because you can't come back from school and sit behind the screen and everything. You need to be able to interact with the children. Yes. So, I mean, it is not. It is unfortunate that the society now is making us do these things. But as I said, one of my children was asleep whilst I was listening to the show going this morning. And sometimes it's really, really a chore. So I try to let them sleep early so that at least they can get some sleep to be energized.
So, I mean, Doc, I get the point that this is not something that parents are doing intentionally. I think that point must be made. No parent is deliberately doing this to their child. Well, at least that's not the norm. But even if it's being done accidentally, the effect is the same, right? The effect on the child is the same. Parts of their brain are not developing fully, right? Their bodies are malnourished, and their emotional state is not optimal. So even though it is not being done intentionally, the effect on the child is the same as that of someone intentionally abusing their child in this manner.
Yes. So the effect is the same, but this is not intentional or deliberate. That's what changes the definition of
the definition. Yes, I'm with you. So now that we've established that no parent wants to do this to their child, let's figure out in the space that we do have, in this within the constraints that society has placed on these parents, what can they do to make this a bit easier on their children? If they don't have a choice, they have to wake them up early. They don't have a choice, they have to give them whatever food is available in the short time for them to eat. They don't have a choice, they have to stay away and end up not spending as much time with their children as they want to. They don't have a choice. But what can they do to make those circumstances less injurious to their children?
Okay, so I think that as parents, we can help establish proper sleep routine for our children, because that is the beginning. And when I'm saying a proper sleep routine, I'm talking about, maybe giving them a drink before night, bathing them, keeping away screens, tablets, phones, because we know that, it's been shown that the light from the screens actually impair sleep. So if you have a child on the tablet, always watching cartoons before they sleep, obviously they're not going to fall asleep early. So that is one. For maybe weekends like this, you can actually schedule some time with the children. So maybe I have started buying toys, like bats, balls that they can go out and hit and other things, ball, table tennis, something to just keep them active, because play and exercise is also part of the development of the child. And we need to assist them with the homework, because, sometimes they are really tired, they're not understanding the concept and all. So some of these things, when we do, I think we can help them, especially the limiting screen time. Then for the diet as well, Even if you're not able to do a proper advice for the child to take to school, once you get home, I think you need to make up for it. Some people do an egg a day so that they know that whatever the case, the child is having some protein in the morning before they sleep. And we know that protein is also essential for building the brain. And so off the top of my head, these are some of the things that I can suggest and which would help.
Yeah.
So it's about spending quality time and allowing them to do what children are supposed to play, not only watch cartoons. Yeah.
These are actually very helpful, Dr. Peggy, I've got to say. You've really given parents a bit of hope that they have some control over the outcomes here. I know that you have an appointment, and so we are going to have to let you go at this point, but this is a conversation in its infancy, so I hope we'll get the chance to talk more about this in the coming days. Dr. Peggy Asiedu Ekrimet, who is a psychiatrist and child and adolescent mental health specialist at the Accra Psychiatric Hospital. Thank you very much for your time with us. And all of you have been commenting on this. So many people affected. Our very own Israel Lai joins us. He's been thinking and talking about this subject for some time now. Izzy, good morning. How nice to have you.
Good morning, Kojo. Yes, nice to speak with you too.
So this thing is catching fire on social media.
Oh,
Hughes had that post. You've been saying a few things about it as well.
So the thing is, I've had a personal experience of having to, brainstorm over this with my wife. And when we started our family, and I must say that there's no one size fits all. So I can suggest some things, but ultimately it is for the two of you or the family to sit down and look at all the options available to them and decide how they want to approach it. So in our case, we decided that, look, we're not going to send our kids to a school too far away from where we live. So you take that decision first, and then you try and figure out, okay, so if I have to send them to a school close to where we live, how can we let that happen? Does it mean we're going to if we both have to leave the house very early, does it mean we're going to get a child minder who is going to send the kids to school in the morning and bring them home and take care of them for some time before the parents come in? That's one option. Some of us may be privileged enough to have our parents available. So your parents or your mom can come to the house, and that is even if you actually have accommodation for your mom to come and live in the house, to take care of the kids and send them to school with a vehicle, or if they're going to walk or whatever. But look at all the options. There's also one of the options that somebody suggested, that you can have a partner who will decide to take less work or a job that is not so exacting. And so then that parent will be taking care of the kids in the house or have time to send the kids to school while the other goes away. In our personal example, I had the option of working very early. So I'll leave the house very early at dawn to come to Joy. And then my wife would take care of the kids and get them to school. Then I will close early because I leave very early. So I'll close early, 3 p.m. I'm back in the house to fetch the kids, send them to the house and take care of them. So sort of running shifts just to take care of the kids. Of course, we also had the benefit of a support system. We had both our parents living in Accra. Okay, so if we're sending the kids to school or they're on vacation and there's nobody at home, we can send them to our parents. But the point I'm making is just look at all the options available to you, brainstorm and decide that under the circumstances, this is how we want to approach the matter. So yeah, that's what it is. But those who will decide that we're going to drive the kids a long distance to school in the city center. You may get the kids to the school. It may be a good school, but then you've deprived them of sleep. They go to the classroom and they're sleeping. Essentially, all that you sought to gain by sending them to a good school, by driving them long distances, you're not getting that.
Yeah.
Are you better off keeping them in a school close to the house? Have a child minder who would then, take care of the kids like that. Of course, there are also the dangers or the risk associated with having somebody else taking care of your child.
Indeed.
But yes, look at all of it and decide what the best option is for you.
Let me ask you this. Would you advise someone to have a word with their employer about possibly adjusting their conditions so that they can be a more responsive parent and not have to wake up so early? I mean, would you suggest someone goes to their employer and, says, listen, can we talk about my hours?
I strongly would suggest that indeed. While having a conversation with Louisa this morning, then she indicated that she has one of her teammates who is faced with a situation like that. And so there's a compromise that you get to work very early and then you can close a little earlier than usual. So if you have to be in the office at 7 a.m., make sure you do all the work that you have to do before you get to leave. So then your wife can do like the shift that I was running with. All right. So she would take care of the kids and get them to school. And then somebody else fetches them or the partner gets them home. So, yes, it's something that you should explore. Speak with your employer or your boss. Sometimes it doesn't have to be an arrangement at the level of management. It's just your boss. You speak with your boss and your boss could understand and accommodate your needs. And in this era where we also have working from home, that's also another option.
Yeah.
Okay, so in the under segments, you consider everything, all the options.
I mean, in the society that we have here in Ghana, you, me, Louisa, we might be fortunate enough to have employers that are progressive enough to understand the value of a work-life balance, for their staff. But typically, the average employer, the woman who owns a store, who employs someone to, watch over her store, or the man who runs a small factory, or the typical Ghanaian employer, would any of their employees get very far if they were to broach such a subject with them?
You may not get very far, but then that's why I'm saying that it's not a one-size-fits-all. So you look at your circumstances and decide that this is the best option, and you may never succeed. Or there are some who they will look at all the options and really they wouldn't have any option but to just drive these kids long distances into Accra. There's that too.
Yeah.
But at least if we're all considering all the options, we may have fewer kids having to, survive or, that kind of long trips into school. But yes, let's look at the options. Because at the end of the day, what all of this is doing to the kids is another thing that we haven't actually considered. Could it be that because we're having to drive these kids long distance, a lot more of these kids long distances into school in the city center, then we're also having kids that are not developed mentally well enough. So then at the end of the day, it impacts the kind of workforce that we have. So that's something that we should all consider. If we all do something, and consider all of the options, we may have fewer of the kids having to endure these things.
Consider all the options. That's Israel Lai there. Thank you so much for your time with us this morning, Izzy. Great to have you.
You're welcome.
All right. We want to know your experiences and how you've been coping. Have you attempted to have this conversation with your employer? That's a part of this that I'm very interested in. I want to know how employers have been reacting to requests from staff to vary their working hours a little bit just so that they can manage the situation with their children, okay? I want to hear what happened when you brought it up at work. What kind of response did you get? Call us. Let's hear from you. I think we have, is it Tina from Airport?
Yes. Yes.
Hello, is this Tina?
Yes, this is Tina.
Hi, Tina. Good morning.
Good morning, Kojo. Kojo, how are you?
Not bad at all. It's great to hear from you, Tina.
Yeah. It's about the topic you are discussing.
Yeah.
In fact, it's a huge problem to parents and anyone who is taking care of children. Because where all of us are staying and where we are bringing our children to school is a huge and big problem because our politicians are not helping us. They are not helping. They will deduct all the money that you need from taxes and all these things, but still they are not helping. So I think they should do something better for us so that our lives will be easy. Because I don't think no parent will wish his child or her child to sleep in a car or go and sleep at school. But it has become a problem to every parent in this our country, Accra, Takoradi, Kumasi, the big one. So please, our leaders need to set up. They have to. They have to.
Thank you, Tina. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks for calling us. All right, let's go to Jowulu. Hello, Yabua. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, talk to us, Yabua. What's your experience been?
Yes, I am fortunate that at my workplace we have flexible work arrangements. So I can report at 10 and close at 7 p.m. or report at 6 and close at 3 p.m. But what I want to say is that it shouldn't be employees going to the employer. The employers should understand that they should put in place this flexible work arrangement policy. It is proven that is one of the mechanisms that you can use to retain your talent at your workplace. People are not looking at remunerations that much, but people are also looking at some of these conditions that will make them comfortable at their workplaces. So I want to suggest that employers should think through this and come out with policies at flexible working arrangement policies for their employees, so they can also support their families. So this is my submission. It's a very good topic. Thanks for bringing it up.
Thank you, Yabua. Thanks a lot for a living example there of the positive effects of flexible working arrangements. Claude is in Tema. Hi, Claude. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Kojo. How are you doing?
Not bad, my brother.
Yes.
Yeah, talk to us.
Yes, Kojo, everybody seems to be saying the same thing, and I think we need to look at the solution. We have a lot of schools in our various communities, both government and private schools. But especially for the private schools where most of us take our children, you ask that who is doing the monitoring, evaluation, and supervision, so that at least in a community we are sure that the standards are good. You don't have to transport your children over long distances to get to school. If somebody is supervising, making sure that infrastructure is okay, washrooms are good and safe for our children to use, I don't think we would travel all the way taking our children to those places and the stress. Now, when you take the government schools, they have the best trained, qualified teachers. You ask yourself, who is also monitoring them to make sure that they deliver the best of education? And then the infrastructure, most of the government school infrastructure, the old ones, are like poultry sheds. I think government has to look at something in improving the infrastructure of the government schools. Then maybe some of us or the upcoming generation will want to take their children there. Otherwise, the stress will continue. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Claude from Tema. Thanks for calling us. Let's go to Bawe. Emmanuel is on the line. Hi, Emmanuel. Good morning. Do we have Emmanuel on the line? Oh, I think we've lost Emmanuel there. But you can call us 0302 216 541 055 1111 997.
Some messages, Kojo. Gaval Music says they are up by 7 and 4 a.m. and 7 in school every single day. And this
Wow.
was I used to wake up at 4 a.m. and before 5:30 a.m. I'm at the school and Dumavi Prince promises the one with the message.
Okay, all right. We have Emmanuel back on the line from Bawi. Hello again, Emmanuel.
Yeah, hello, good morning.
Thanks for calling.
You're welcome. Question.
Yeah, Emmanuel, can you switch off that radio, please? There's a bit of feedback coming through. Just switch it off and listen to us on the phone, okay?
Is it okay now?
Yeah, perfect. Go ahead.
Yeah. I want to ask you, is this also, I want to know this program, is this also the fault of the government?
Who are you asking?
I just want to know if this program that you're doing now,
Yes.
is it also the problems that the parents are facing? Because what I know is that if you know where you are sending your word to school far, why don't you find a school around the community and then let your word go to that school at the right time so that your word will have time to sleep and then rest? But you know, the way Ghanaians we are, every time we have complaints where we complain about nothing. We complain about nothing. This is an individual thing. This is individual decision. So if you know where you are sending your word to school is far and your word can't get that rest that needed, send him or her to the schools around and be free.
Okay.
You understand? There are government schools around. There are other schools. You keep on bothering us with things that we are not necessary. This is not necessary. It's individual choice. So have your own choice. It's not by force. Government has nothing to do with this.
But who brought in government? Who mentioned government?
Some of the callers are bringing in government. The government should help them whatever they want. There's nothing government can do about this.
Okay.
It is your choice. So find a school around, or school closer, so that your world will also have much rest and rest.
Do you have children?
Yeah.
How many?
2.
Okay. So that's what you did. You chose a local school for
I
them.
have schools around that are very good schools that have done them. They go on their own.
Do you believe everybody has good schools in their area?
That is your choice.
Thank you for calling, Emmanuel. Let's talk to Nana K in Tema. Hi, Nana K. Good morning.
Hi, Pedro. How are you?
Not bad. Thanks for calling.
Absolutely. Action, good thing.
Action and good say.
Anyway, I have been fortunate a bit on two fronts. I have been fortunate because the school my kids attend is on a lane next to my house. So even their grandmother is able to walk them to school.
Good.
So they are fortunate to wake up at times, even at 6:30, and they are still able to make it before 7:30 to school.
Wow.
Now, what makes it a double fortunate event for me is that I also work for an employer who is quite sensitive to these issues. So they have what we call a flexi working hour policy. So assuming you get to the office, you subscribe to it. So if you get to the office, say at 7 in the morning, instead of the reporting time at 8, you can close at 4, which means that you end yourself an hour early to close. Same way, if you get to work at 9, it means you close an hour later. So then you can have an arrangement which then would suit the kind of schedule you have in the morning. And I think that is what most employers should also consider. Because at the end of the day, the staff's well-being and his ability to manage his or her situation well also augurs well for the kind of deliverable they would be able to give to you as an employer. If an employee comes to work tired in the morning, you don't expect a lot of output during the day because half the day the person is dozing off.
Yeah.
But if the person comes freshened up, then you should expect that you'll have maximum output because then. So I think employers, in as much as there's money to be made, should understand that the people that make the money for you do matter, and some of these things should be taken into cognizance, and policy should be done around that so that it delivers the kind of balance we all would envisage to have.
That's a wonderful suggestion, Nana K. Thank you for that. You know, it's interesting. Nana K has illustrated that today's privileged child is the one who doesn't have to wake up too early.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. All right. Listen, call us. We want your experiences as well. I want to hear how you are coping with the situation of having to wake up your children so early, having them doze off in the car on their way to school, get home late, not get enough sleep, not get good nutrition, all because we are trying to work hard to look after them. The irony. Call us 0302 216 541 055 1111 997. Chidiak is on the line from Southla. Good old Chidiak. How have you been?
Because I'm fine. And you?
Not bad, not bad. Good to hear from you.
Yeah. Because don't you think we are confused as a nation that a teacher lives in Adenta, is being forced to go to school and teach at Mamprobi. He ends up using all his salary on transport. We are a confused nation. Nothing is working for us. No train, nothing. You've been in traffic. You set up from the house at 5 o'clock from Adenta to Circle or Accra. You spend almost 3 hours, 2 hours in traffic. You are stressed up. Nothing is working in this country. Let's be serious. Thank you.
Thank you, my brother. Thanks for calling. And, we have Edgar Redu on the line from Jolu. Edgar, what a pleasure. Good morning.
Good morning, my brother. How are you doing?
Not bad. Good to hear from you.
Good. This topic has so many angles. But I just want to take one or two. Having children and having to go through all this ordeal made me come to realize and appreciate, put the value on a woman. Without a woman, I don't know how. I mean, which angles I would have taken to be where I am today.
Yeah.
And I think the celebration of Mother's Day, these are some of the things that one looks at and really appreciates the value of a woman. There is something that we always say, but I don't think we're taking time to digest it properly. Behind every man, a successful man is a woman. Behind the success of every man, there's a woman. These are some of the things that our wives do that gives us that kind of peace of mind to enable us excel at our workplaces, that we are able to climb to another. This is just one angle that I wanted to bring on the board. Thank you.
Thank you, Edgar. Yes, the role that some women play in the family setup to shore up and cover up for this particular difficulty. Yeah. Okay. We've got Tina back on the line from airport. Is that right? Hello again,
this
Tina.
Is a different Tina.
Oh, there's a different Tina. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yes, lots of Tinas from airport this morning. Good to have you. Thanks so much for calling us.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So, Kojo, I went through something similar, but I had to quit.
Wow.
Because my husband's job is such that he's almost always not around. He's almost always out of the country.
Yeah.
And at some point, the children were living with my mother, schooling in her neighborhood. And then over the weekend, I'll pick them up, come home. But I was thinking, my mother has had her chance of mothering. It is my turn to be a mother. So I don't want them living with my mother, and then I only get to see them over the weekend.
Yeah.
So I quit my 8-to-5 job. We moved the children to a school in my neighborhood so that I can take them to school, pick them up, see to their homework and everything. And now I found another job. It's a 9 to 3. So yes, I still drop them off in school. I close from work and pick them up from school. And then the home routine starts again.
Wow. Thank goodness, because
Yes.
I'm sure you definitely wanted to, continue being productive and, to
Mm-hmm.
have a job, but this must have been quite a blow. So you had to quit.
I have to quit.
Wow, wow, wow. I have no doubt people like Tina would certainly want employers to be a lot more sensitive to this situation. Let's go to Sandema. Here's Jerome. Hi, Jerome. Good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Thank you for calling us, Jerome. How is Sandema this morning?
Sunma is great.
Good, good. So, tell us what's on your mind.
To me, my mind, my talk is very simple. What I have to advise parents is that I will advise them to send their kids to boarding school. That is the better solution. At the boarding schools, they have, let's say house mothers who to take care of them. They will take care of them. They will wake them up on time, bath them, and then they'll go to class. So to me, that's my best solution. If so that parents will have time for work and then their other duties. So I think to me, boarding school is the solution.
What if your child is, 6 years old?
Come again.
What if your child is 5 years old or 6 years old?
It doesn't matter.
You should still send them to boarding school.
Exactly.
Okay.
For me, I want to narrate my story here.
Okay.
I passed through the boarding school when I was small. That was in the year 2000. So
how old were
up
you?
to now, I left boarding school. That was in the year 2017. And to the boarding school that I attended, you have children that are 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 thereabout. So me, I went to I attended boarding school when I was 7 years old.
I see.
So it doesn't matter the age of the child. It doesn't matter. So that's it.
How do you think it has affected your own attitude towards parenting? Did you get to spend much time with your family, with your parents?
Come again.
Did you end up not spending much time with your parents?
No. Yes.
And how do you think that affected you?
But mostly what they do is that they find time to come and visit me.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Jerome. That's an interesting example. Joseph is in Hachu. Hi, Joseph. Good morning.
Hello. Good morning.
Yeah. What's on your mind, Joseph?
Yes, I think the issues you are discussing this morning is very important because your colleague that you spoke to, Israel, mentioned that as a parent, you need to discuss all the options that are available for you. That is between yourself as a man and your wife. It kind of look like in most cases, the women end up taking the back seat and say, okay, if this is the case, then I have to resign from work and take care of the kids. From a man point of view, I think we need to explore the conversation in a different direction. I have a wife, I have a little girl of 4 years. I work in the media, and I start the TV station from the scratch. So I am in the programming section. And it's very exhausting, it's very demanding that I'm in the office as early as 6 p.m. and close as late as 9 p.m. I have a side hustle too. Then, by the time I get back home, my little girl is still awake by 9 p.m. She's not asleep.
Oh.
My wife is not doing a full-time job. She does her own business. But she's unable to take care of the little girl at home. In fact, the school the little girl goes to is just about 15 minutes walk from where her shop is. So I made that arrangement that she could be able to pick the little girl from school, attend to her. By the time I come back, then we are all sorted out.
Yeah.
But I have to leave work pick up the little girl, bring her home, take care of her, make sure that by 7 p.m. she's asleep. By that time, I make sure I help her with her homework.
Yeah.
Currently, I'm on leave. So what I do is, I get the little girl ready very early in the morning. I say, let her sleep. When she wakes up successfully, we get her ready to school. Then I pick her up at 4:30. She get home, I bath for her, help her with her homework. She sleep. Then I can go ahead with my side hustle. What I realize is when I allow the mother to take care of her, the mother appears to be so busy even at home, and the little girl keeps contracting little infections here and there. So I think we as family, the moment you made up your mind to get married and start giving birth, we need to put some level of responsibility on ourselves that we have to divide our responsibility now. Other than that, we're going to put our children into a situation that we say we are spending a lot of money on them on education, but they are not coming out to be the best that we are expecting them to be.
I get
so if you don't look at it from our own point of view, because they are still kids. If you don't look at it from our point of view, how can we help in making sure that the children grow up in an environment that helps them? Then we are actually punishing the kids.
Thank you, Joseph. Lots to think about there. Maybe we'll take one more call. Let's stay in Hachu. This is Nanaya. Hi, Nanaya. Good morning.
Hi, Coach. Good morning.
Thanks for calling us.
Hey, thank you for having me. So about this waiting, I would advise parents to have time for their kids. Could you? I entrusted my kids in the hands of my driver. I have 3 girls, 1 boy. The driver picked them and sat them in a bad way. I was very busy working. I close at 6, go to the gym. Grandma is in the house. Kojo, I was totally busy because I was working on Saturdays, Sundays. I had to go to the shop. Kojo, we should have time for our kids. Looking for money is good. But at least, what is taking your kids to the boarding? Who will caress them when they need you? Because kids get sick at dawn. Who will hold them? You send your child to the boarding school. You don't know what is happening there. And you are in the house, eating and sleeping. I can never... Kojo, I have done that before. And I swear to God that I regret it. Now I pick my kids at school myself. I spoke to my immediate boss. He agreed. I pick my kids myself. I go to playing grounds with them on weekends. Look, I met a parent at GIS. He once told me, look, I learned how to smoke from a driver. At that tender age, his driver was teaching him how to smoke. Until now, he's a chain smoker. We should have time for our kids. They are kids. You see, when my driver was doing that to my kids, they come home and tell Grandma, oh, Mufi on Kolaboni on yes, sir. This is a driver I took like my own brother. He goes home with the car. I mean, like my brother. He was touching my girls.
Oh, no.
All the 3 of them.
Oh, gosh.
Kojo, we should make time for our kids. Now, I pick them up. I bring them home. I teach them. It's serious. Teach them home, cook for them, good night kids, read for them, and I can see the bonding. Look, we should have time for our kids.
Nanaya, I hope you reported this driver for what he was doing.
Yes, I did.
Good.
Along the way, his wife died, and we have to leave the case. Because I realized he himself, he was going through a lot. But it was that bad. All the 3 girls. He sometimes buy foods for them and put it in his pants before giving them to my kids.
Oh, my God.
Kojo, it was that bad. Have time for your kids, because I'm talking from experience. I cried for more than 1 month because it's not that my husband doesn't have, but I also want to work. to have time for our kids.
Thank you, Nanaya. Oh, what a horrifying story, and it will shock you to know how many, of such situations are happening as we speak across the country. Who you leave your child. And sometimes it's not even deliberate. This was a driver who was deliberately abusing these kids, but sometimes it's not even deliberate. Look, I used to have a driver. Oh. This guy would pick up Fifi from school when he was much, much younger, when he had just arrived, when they had just arrived in Ghana. Pick him up from school, and on his way home, he's trying to make conversation with the boy, right? He's just trying to be nice. And he says things like, "Oh, Fifi, I love you so much." 6-year-old boy hearing a man telling him he loves him, he was very confused. Of course, there was no ill intent, but he took it quite, you can imagine that he wasn't very comfortable. Okay, so these things are happening. Nobody will treat your children the way you will. No one will raise your kids the way you will. Even with the best of intentions, someone could end up harming your child. How much less those who actually don't have good intentions, like this driver who was molesting Nanaya's kids.
That's terrible.
Charlie, you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. Meanwhile, all of this suffering is for the same kids now. All right, this conversation, we have to continue it. So many facets.